I would say best series of the year so far for the Mariners. Not just a sweep, but the sweep of a very good team on the road in their building, and the complete nature of it. The offense, the defense, the pitching. I mean, like, you name it, they did it all this weekend. And you leave San Diego, I don't think anybody expected a 3-game sweep of the Padres, but man, they were just the better team this weekend. It wasn't really that close.
What's up, Daniel Jeremiah? Yeah, holding that better cup. Was I talking smack to him on text? You best believe I was all weekend long. 15-3 plus 12 scoring differential. Why am I rapping on a Monday morning? I don't know. But yes, Michael, that was hard to argue that was not their best series. Yes, they swept Texas earlier this year. Yes, they won 9 series in a row. But as you mentioned there, you watch and see that San Diego team. That's a good lineup. That's some really significant pitching. That's a good bullpen. And to go down there and not just win the series, but to take all 3, coming off of a homestand where you had lost 5 of 6 as well. Yeah, that's hard to argue that was not the best Friday to Sunday of these Seattle Mariners here in 2025.
I used 2 words to describe this team when they're like this that I think really fit them. And the first has been used a lot this year, and that's resilient. I mean, clearly, all of the injuries they've got, combined with having, really coming off 2 pretty rough series at home, right? Blue Jays and Yankees, you lose 5 of 6. Their resilience is just constantly on display all year long. How many series they've lost the first game and then won the next 2, and they didn't do that in this one, but just coming off of the 2 series loss in a sweep, it's like, yeah, no big deal. We'll just go out there and just beat up one of the best teams in baseball in their ballpark.
Yep, and again, this is kind of when you got on that stretch, and this is kind of sports today, to be honest with you. Deeper teams and teams that get contributions from everybody seems to sustain a little bit more. OKC, playing 10 guys and getting rid of those Nuggets who have to lean on about 3 or 4. Eventually, they just run out of gas. The Toronto Maple Leafs, well, they're the Toronto Maple Leafs, Salk. They just run out of gas. They just cannot go and finish. But this was reminiscent of a bunch of those great series wins where you were getting contributions from everybody.
Yep.
Everybody in your bullpen delivered, right, to hold those guys to 3 runs in their building over 3 days with a full lineup of Tatis, and Machado, and all the Red Crones, all of them. That's some special duty right there.
Well, I mean, Merrill did nothing. Machado did nothing. Cronenworth did nothing. I mean, it's just they shut those guys down. I mean, it really felt like that lineup was rendered meaningless. It felt like over the course of the 3 games. You used depth. The other word I used is maybe related to that, but just felt relentless. The offense just keeps coming at you in waves. The pitching just keeps coming at you. The bullpen just keeps coming at you. And even when you feel like you've got a hit, the defense keeps coming at you as well. And I don't know, there's a relentless nature to not even just the way they play the game, although I'm sure you could make that case as well, but more just sort of the way it must feel to play against them.
Yeah. Like, man, I got to earn everything. They're not giving me anything. JP with a great play Saturday night, just, getting to a ball and throwing it over there to first.
Yep.
Little Leo Rivas with a tremendous play yesterday with a Robinson Cano-esque, almost behind his body turn throw right on the money. It was just when you think, okay, they're going to get somebody on, they're going to start to pressure the situation. They just released a pressure valve at all times. There was just no pressure that San Diego put on the Mariners really at any point. And then, exactly like you said, Michael King breezes through the first couple innings, and then it is just work, as it was for Max Fried, as it was for Evaldi, as it was for DeGrom, as it was for Skubal, as it's been versus every ace they faced this year. It is not there's no gimmies. Like everything is work up and down that lineup, and finally got to him. And geez, that's a great. It's just a great, I would imagine, team feeling coming off of that home series where you were a bit disappointing to go down there and get on that plane last night and fly to Chicago and begin a set in the Windy City. That had to feel pretty darn good to those boys.
Yeah, you got to imagine the confidence is pretty high after that, as it should be. Again, I mean, that's a takedown. Now, one series does not a season make. I mean, the Angels swept the Dodgers this weekend, so I mean, like, you just
say that again.
Yeah.
Well, they're playing for Ron's job down there.
They must be.
Some of the heat. We've seen some managers fired, so I think Ronnie
that must be it. Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, it worked out that way. So, what happens week to week and game to game in a baseball season isn't always telling, the full picture. But when you play like that, you're as good as anybody, honestly, because the pitching was so good, the defense was so good, and the hitting is, look, they score 15 runs in a series. That's 5 a game.
Yep.
That's not one of these, oh, my God, they just went in and teed off. They just scored the right amount. Like, score 5 runs in a game, and you're probably going to win. Give up 1 run in a game. You're probably going to win. And when you do both of those things, obviously, you win every game.
Lyle,
pretty nice.
How did you guy do that? How did Logan was, all of a sudden that hit or error got changed to an error and his ERA gets cut in half? Was he just a new man or what? How did he get that done?
No, I think in general he's just been really good. And he got out of a lot of jams on Friday. So.
Brock, your Logan Evans thing took a big hit, right? You guys were arguing a couple weeks ago about whether Logan was good or bad in that game, and then they made one scoring change 11 days later, and his ERA got cut in half.
Yes, and he's a new man.
He's a new man. It was a surge of confidence for him.
I will tell you this too, man. Randy is playing, and it's not just the numbers. Right, it's just what your eyes see as well, and how great to see him take an extra base yesterday, right on a fly out to center field, and see him running full speed again. And what did old Lyle Texas 140 something WRC plus best at the start of a season in his career, throwing on to Cal Raleigh with the 4th best WRC plus in all of baseball. In all of baseball, behind only Freeman and Judge and Ohtani.
Great.
It's Cal Raleigh right there. Like. Yeah, man, this has been we're nearing 50 games here, and enough guys are kind of doing enough work that sitting here in first place in the American League West does not feel very surprising.
No, I mean, clearly that is what you're watching. And another small thing I like this weekend, Polanco wasn't really a part of it. Yep. Not that I like that he wasn't a part of it. I don't mean that, but like it didn't seem to affect them. Like, he was a guy that was sort of your red-hot offensive player who was well over his skis for a while. He came back to earth, also not playing against, like, I don't know exactly what's going on with Polanco. Maybe there's some injury there again. I don't know. But it didn't slow them down. Like, oh, that's fine. Nope. Tellez just hit a couple home runs. Oh, that's fine. You just put in Rivas, and he'll make a couple of defensive plays at second. Oh, that's fine. You just do, like, Dylan Moore late in the game, come up with a big hit. Like, that's, I guess, what I mean by the relentlessness of it. I was making a comp to Scotty Scheffler earlier, and it's weird because I don't know that they're ultimately that similar, the Mariners and Scotty Scheffler. But those two words definitely describe Scotty, right? He leads all of golf in bounce-back birdies after bogeys. Maybe just because he gets a lot of birdies, but also because the bogeys don't set him back. He comes right back, and he's very resilient. He managed to deal with those mud balls, Brock. Those mud balls were driving him crazy on Thursday, and he comes and battles back to win.
Well, and you know what I know.
And he is certainly relentless. I mean, like, just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming like a Terminator. So I don't know whether I would necessarily comp the two in general, but in those two ways, they do feel sort of similar.
Yeah, and and I know, over 162 games, if you can sustain that level of just kind of relentlessness from everybody on the roster, no matter where they are and when they come onto your team and how many times they go back and forth to Tacoma, if you kind of got that vibe of relentlessness on top of being resilient in a baseball season, when you have a bad homestand, that was what I was curious about. Okay, this is first real bump in the road. I know they started the season a little bit slow, but to come home and lose 5 of 6 and get swept, kind of first little bump in the road, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to bounce back from that? And geesh, if they're capable of doing this relentlessly with this resiliency, we are looking at one heck of a fun summer.
That's for sure. Well, we really do appreciate you guys watching our videos.
And remember, you can like it, you could subscribe it, you could download the Seattle Sports app so you never miss a minute.